Well, welcome everybody. My name is Michelle McKay, and I am calling in from Oxford, Mississippi, with some amazing friends, Sheila Bukowski and Cynthia Bolden. And we are so excited tonight to share why you need these drops. And y'all, I can't believe I have a voice tonight because I've been sharing why you need these drops all day long. And so I'm just going to share what the common denominator has been all day long. I cannot tell you how many people have reached out to me today and said, Michelle, I am tired. I am so sick and tired of being tired. And so, what do I do? I said, why do you think I talk about these drops all the time? We got to get these drops in your body. Another person, Michelle, I've got brain fog just like you. I'm like, this is why you need these drops. So, y'all, in a nutshell, if you haven't heard my story, we now know that insulin resistance in the brain is the leading cause of Alzheimer's, but it's also the leading cause of diabetes, heart disease, strokes, inflammation, all those things that surround us. And y'all, my precious mother 29 years ago did not get the opportunity to have such a solution as these drops to help get rid of her insulin resistance and help prevent Alzheimer's in her life. And because she didn't have that opportunity, I am set and determined, as my friends know, we are going to get these drops in the hands of billions because I don't want my friends or family or anybody having Alzheimer's, diabetes, or any of these things that we know we can prevent. So that is why, you hear me? I get so excited and passionate. That is why I feel we need these drops. But my friend Sheila and my personal business partner, just amazing, precious friend, so thankful to have her here with me. Y'all know I love Cynthia. You know that already. But now you know I love Sheila. She is one of my dearest friends. And isn't it amazing that we get to work together? But more than anything, Sheila's a nurse with me too. We have gotten to serve more people with these drops and our amazing products, Sheila, than we ever served in our 35, 40 plus years in nursing. Is that not right? So,
So
Sheila,
true.
welcome and tell us why you need these drops.
Well, it truly is an honor to be here tonight, especially with you and Cynthia. Michelle, I think back to how our relationship was built over the last 13 to 14 years and how that has served us so well as we moved into this next phase of our business life and our friendship. Because that's one thing I love about this business is that it allows you to cross both of those areas of your life to mesh them together.
Yeah.
And so I'm really thankful for, I feel like it's a second chance in so many ways in my life.
Yes.
So tell me, you just want me to start? Like, you want me
Yes.
just to kind of,
Yes.
okay. Well, so let me give you a little bit of background. I'm happy to see all of you here. I love sharing a beautiful success story of what the drops have done for me. But a little bit about my background. Of course, you did mention I was nursing. I'm a nurse by background, pediatric trauma nurse. And I went back and got that degree as an adult with four children. So, talk about things that can be done when life is busy, right? And so I stepped into that career in 1997. And in 2006, I lost that career due to medical issues. I had fibromyalgia severe enough that I could not function. I was in pain 24 hours a day and unless I could get to sleep. I told people that what I used to do, I would dread going to sleep and I dreaded waking up because going to sleep was difficult because of the pain. And then the moment you opened your eyes, you were in pain. And so that was one piece of it. The other was chronic fatigue. The other was the brain fog that you experienced, Michelle, in a later part of your life. And so it's interesting how, in theory, you can find things to treat pain, but you can't find anything for chronic fatigue.
Yeah.
The brain fog, there really wasn't anything. And then the problem you run into is that the medications they would prescribe or they thought they would prescribe that they thought would work created other complications. So then you would need to take a pill to fix what this little thing over here. It might have fixed one aspect of your health, but then it created another issue. And now they want you to take something else for that. So for anybody here that's on and you've dealt with multiple health issues, especially things to where nobody could put a diagnosis on it, um, you're resilient people. You know that you have to advocate for yourself and that you've had to push through barriers that other people don't understand. Because I can tell you at one point, this is really sick to think about, that I would almost say, I wish I had cancer because somebody would recognize that something's wrong with me because you could put a typical diagnosis on it that somebody recognized. So if anybody's ever struggled with an illness that they can't find a diagnosis, and I'm not saying, let's say right off the bat, we do not diagnose, treat, or cure anything here. But what I do know as a nurse and our background, that there's not an answer for everything out there. Okay. And so it's really awesome that we have the opportunity here to tap into something that is natural with basically no side effects. I would have given anything had this been available and an option for me back in 2006 and all when that started happening for me. So the other piece that I will share medically was that I also, so that was in 2006. In 2014, I was diagnosed with rheumatoid arthritis. And I remember looking at, saying to myself in prayer, and I like, God, really? Like, really? Um, but we faced that head on and dealt with that as well. So coming into Partner Co. In 2023, make sure I get my years right, Michelle, after I said the wrong dates over the weekend. But in 2023, I had watched Michelle be involved with the products with this company. And so I'll have to be honest. So I had gained a lot of weight due to medications. Um, I'm on several medications. I've been able to at least reduce one since I've started. So it's going to take me a little bit of time to come off of that. But I pretty much had given up hope on finding something for weight loss. Okay. So I kind of had just quit trying because I thought there really wasn't anything out there. So to talk about the drops specifically for me. So when that came on board to me, I enrolled with Partner Co to get the discount on December the 21st of 2023. So what time of year is that? It's the time of year when there's all kinds of foods in galore that you're going to be partaking in and going to parties and all the things, right? And so my first thought was, because I could tend to be realistic. I was optimistic, but I was also being realistic. So my first part of my buy-in for the drops was just getting in the routine, get the discipline of taking them. I will say that the first thing I really focused on to try to change in my lifestyle was processed foods. I think if you've been around, unless you've lived in a turtle shell, you realize that our food is what's basically, I hate to use this word, but it's slowly killing us. It really is. Our diets in America are not serving us like they should be. How much I wish sometimes I could go back to my grandparents were cotton farmers, and we used to go help them pick cotton up in North Mississippi. But we had a garden, right? My grandmother had a garden. And I think back to all the good food that we used to eat when we grew our own vegetables, right? So our diet is not doing us any favors. So I did already have a feel for that. And then the next thing was, trying to, the deal of trying to get them in 3 times a day, because that's how we take the drops. And, but ideally before a meal. Well, you know what? If you don't get them in before the meal, get them in when you remember, because as we say, they don't do you any good in the bottle. So I decided not to be hardcore and perfect, right? because that's our real world. I think the topic, which I haven't had a chance to listen to today for the body balance challenge, was progress over perfection.
Yeah.
And having seen myself over the last year, I'm going to tell you progress over perfection. So I want you to be good to yourself and kind to yourself. And I want you to make a commitment if this is the first time that you're looking at the drops, that you're just going to commit to get those drops in your body. I want you to start with that because this is what we know once we start them. Within 4 to 5 days, the first thing I noticed was, hey, I'm not as hungry as I was before. And then we began, after using them, I discovered, hey, I could walk past that table full of sweets over there at this baby shower I went to, and I didn't feel like I had to grab everything on the table. I'm like, what's wrong with me? Like, how does this happen with a natural substance, right? And so that's how I started my journey, just step by step. But I also committed to it, right? You have to make a commitment that you're going to do what you have to really trial and test the product, right? And one of our mentors in this company, and I've about he says the following, and I think I'm in agreement. If you take these drops the way that we tell you to, the way that the program has been outlined, along with the food plan, and I'm going to touch that in a minute, you will be successful with you will something will happen in your body. So for me, in the first month I lost 10 pounds and I really didn't change anything major in how I was eating. So I just but then that month got by and I went 10 pounds, what could happen if I decide to buy into the food plan? Okay, now the food plan, low glycemic food list, right? Food list. What I like is that we hear Andrea say it's a yes list. I'm all about a yes list, right? If you're hungry, go eat from the food list. This is another thing. I was never hungry on this with this. This first thing I've ever done where I wasn't hungry. I was satisfied, but on top of that, I started feeling good, right? And so then I looked at the food list. I decided what are the things that I like off the food list? What are some of the things I don't know what that is, but guess what? I don't have to eat it. I can eat something else on the food list that I like, right? Because I'm coming here with a goal, with a purpose. All right. That food list isn't made to make me happy, although it did make me happy, right? At first, it didn't look like it's going to make me happy, but the results started paying off for themselves. And so that began the process of the journey of being consistent with the drops. One thing I thought was a great idea, especially like I might have some in my purse and then I have some at home so that I didn't forget to bring them with me. So if I were heading to a job, I might would have me a set at my work and I would have me a set at home so that I don't have to play the game of remembering to bring my drops. Make it easy for yourself. And so as far as weight loss goes, 35, 36 pounds as I began that journey. But the other thing that's beautiful, what's the really gold part of the drops or buying into a new way to live a lifestyle that you can do permanently is keeping it off, right?
Yeah.
So I entered the holidays, Thanksgiving and Christmas, and I didn't gain a pound. In fact, what was funny, I actually lost a pound after Christmas. Like, how does that happen? How does that happen? And I think what's fun about it too is that you began one of the other things that's really great about our resources here is that you have access to a meal suggestions. We have recipes that actually do taste good. All right. We have some people in our organization that have come up, they've taken some things, modified it, and we're using things that we can actually ingest because every now and then we want a little sweet, right? We really do. Another thing a friend said to me recently, we were talking about the food plan. Most of the food plans or diets, as they're called, don't let you have fruit. We can have fruit from the get go. So it's amazing what even how your taste and your desires change once you start doing what Cynthia Bolden loves to talk about, is when you feed your cells, what kind of amazing things can happen in your body. So the next thing I'm going to say is this, I think about, and then I'm trying to pay attention to the time. Um, so I kind of had this conversation with Cynthia, is that I kind of went into this. I didn't do before and after pictures. Like, don't be me. Don't be me. Like, that's how, I just didn't really think it was going to make a big difference. But what happens is inches and all those things. And so be better than me. Actually take pictures. But one thing I was talking with Cynthia about was, um, I had also, because of the health journey I'd been on, you get to a point where you're not sure that you want to put enough hope out there because you don't want to be disappointed about how you feel, about can it really affect how I feel every day. And so I really I had my caution bar pretty high, that I wanted to not be too hopeful, because it's really hard to get your hopes up for something and it be dashed again. And so then we began the journey of, wow, my sleep is better. Y'all, bottle two with methylated B12, the best form of B12 that you can get that actually works for you. Bottle two with ashwagandha, like the mood food. Um, we have a girl in our organization who achieved her weight loss. She got off the drops and she said, I had to go back on them because she said, I didn't realize that how much it was actually keeping my mood stabilization without medication. She said, I'm back on the drops for what they do for me otherwise. And that's the thing that's great about the drops, is that they hit and target all these things in your body with just those two bottles. I love the word alignment. I love the word balance. Is that's the other thing we talk about, is I don't feel like I was going to bite somebody's head off all during the day, right? Like some people call them happy drops. Okay. There's a reason. But I would just say, even overall, just mood stabilization, but beginning to feel better with aches and pains for me. Inflammation is a big deal. In fact, our diets, that's another thing. Everything, the sugars, all the carbs, all these things, I feel like our foods have been hijacked. And so we don't get the nutrition from them like we used to. So I feel like by reestablishing, going with the low glycemic food list, getting the drops in the body so they can do for our body what they need to do, balancing things so that then my body can respond to what I'm going to feed it. Right, Cynthia?
Right.
So that's kind of, I gave you something to work with right there, right? So we can trigger and feed off of each other for where we want to go with this. But I'm so happy with how I feel. So where do you want to go next?
Cynthia, tell us, hey, how do you top that? Amazing job, Sheila. But Cynthia,
Amazing.
I know you got something to say. Tell us.
Sheila, give it up for Sheila. That was absolutely positively awesome. And her story is so phenomenal. And I'm just going to add to it. It's amazing when you can get to work with somebody like Sheila and you can just pick it up and add a little something. Well, I want to tell you that my mood is a little different tonight. It's still happy, it's still jolly, it's still wanting to get these drops in the hands of billions. But I'm going to add a little twist to it tonight. Are you ready? Think about this. Why not the drops?
Yes.
The topic is, why should we be on the drops or use our drops? But my question tonight is, why not? You know what I mean? So you think about it. I'm kind of like Michelle. You be on the phone all day, so you hear these stories that get you a little fired up, but it gets you a little attitude, a good attitude, of course, but it gets you fired up and say, hey, we really do have to get these drops in the hands of billions from a mindset standpoint. I talked to someone today They are over they teach in a large ministry, very large ministry. And one of the things, the largest prayer request out has to do with health. And so my question was, does this topic, is there a place to come and educate and teach? And that was a prayer that's been answered today that they just prayed the first of the year. So I want to encourage you where you spend your time, who you spend your time with. Listen, we are here to lead with love with the drops. We don't beat up anybody, right? We love people to drops and this food plan. And you think about it. I want to say one other thing about the food plan. The food plan is a yes list because the drops make it easy to be a yes list, right? So what I want you to do, take the time. Forget who said no, who forget who says are, negative Nellies maybe. And I usually don't go here, but it's important that we go here tonight. You know what? Just smile and you'll be back or they'll be back. But I am telling you, people are waiting. They are waiting on that knock. They are waiting on somebody to say, we don't treat, cure, diagnose, but somebody wants to see their blood pressure come down. Somebody wants to see their feel good, feel good. Somebody wants to see their joints not ache. There are many people, and ever since, you shouldn't have told Michelle, they should have never let me get too into technology, because when I was able to ask Google how many people are in the world, I think that said it for me. 7.3 billion people. So I think with us, me, you, and all of us together, let's go get these drops in the hands of billions, because there is an answer. And I am telling you, we are bold as a lion and we have it. They want our story. Tell your story. Tell it louder. Tell it more. Tell it bolder. Tell your story. Somebody is praying, and they prayed last night and they'll pray again because you have the story that they need to hear. And that's why we have to get these drops in the hands of billions. So now, Michelle, you
Well,
tell
let
them.
me say something first. Let me say something first. So, because Cynthia, you triggered something that I want to share that
Okay.
hits me from the nursing standpoint. So, you've heard my personal story about I didn't care what a doctor looked at my labs and they couldn't diagnose something, but I cared about whether or not I could feel better. Okay. That's the deal. Sometimes we don't know what's causing what. But this is one of the things that's really impressed me from a nursing perspective, relevant to the drops, and having been around for a year now and seeing our customers use these products. When you can have people who have labs to validate what is happening in their body, okay, you're telling me you feel better, but then we've got several people who have had lab work drawn and done. Their cholesterols might have been at 300. Only thing they did different was the drops, and they come back and their cholesterol is dropping down below 200. We have people with A1C levels that are falling. We have diabetics who've actually been able to lower their insulin. Now, again, hear me say, I'm not telling you to go do that without recommendation, but what I'm telling you are true stories that are happening to people. So there's many things that we're seeing positive about the drops, relevant to, we have one girl, she had terrible labs, liver enzymes were high. She went to her nurse practitioner. She said, all of your labs are bad. Wanted to put her on medication. She said, give me 30 days. I just started these drops. Nurse practitioner was open to that. She let her do that. 30 days later, she gets a text at 6 a.m. in the morning. Call me. The nurse practitioner says, call me ASAP. Well, what do we all do if we get a message like that? We go into fear mode, right? So it picks up the phone and calls her. She said, I happen to be available right now. And she said, I had to call you because every single one of your labs are within normal range. So therefore, I want to get the drops for myself. I want to get them for my husband. And I also want to have them available to people in my clinic because obviously they work. So the point being is we've all, remember this, the drops weren't created for weight loss. Yes, this is one of the beautiful side effects of the drops. Okay. They were created for all the other reasons, the hormone, because we've got over 50 something hormones in our body. They're created to balance those hormones, right? And so the other thing that's really great about the drops is that if you're on medications, that there's no contraindications, no major contraindications relevant to that. So I wanted you to remember that. But I had to share that story because I nearly came out of my chair, Michelle, when
Yes.
I heard that, because well, how are you going to argue with that? You can, but this person, she's happy. Why? Because she didn't have to start some medications that she didn't need at that time. So back to you.
Absolutely. Well, what an amazing testimony. And y'all, I am thrilled. At our highest number, we have had 100 people on this call. That touches my heart because we've got 100 people that whether you're in this business with us or whether you are a guest, I would love for you to put one in the chat if you are a guest, because I want to speak directly to you now. So Sheila and Cynthia, thank y'all so much. Those stories touched my heart. And we know that stories do touch our hearts. So more than anything, we want your story. So if you are a guest and you are a brand partner that has had great results with these drops, we want your story. That story is what helps share it with everybody out there so that we can get them in the hands of billions. But you guessed, you have a call to action. Okay. Here is your assignment. And then you brand partners who brought the guest on, here is your assignment. Reach out to your guest and ask them, are you a 1, 2, 3, or 4? And I'm going to tell you what the answers are. 1, we're going to knock it out. No ones, because that's retail. Nobody wants to pay retail for their drops. Boom, no ones. Number 2, you want to save on these drops. So I'm going to tell you how to save, okay? Or your person who brought you on this call is going to tell you how to save, okay? Because they're going to get you on a text thread with somebody else special in their life, and you're going to learn how you're going to save on these drops. Number 3, you're going to save and earn. Why? Because you heard something tonight that is touching the life of somebody out there that you love. There's Alzheimer's, there's diabetes, there's arthritis, there's things in their bodies you want to prevent. You want to share them with other people, and we want you to get paid for sharing them. So that's 3. But number 4 is we want you to save and earn fast. Who needs quick cash for earning and sharing about these drops? We all want it fast. We're instant gratification people. If I'm going to sell some drops, I want to earn some money right away, because guess what? I am going to love walking you through this journey with these drops, and I want you all paid. So get back to the person who brought you on this call. Tell them whether you are 2, 3, or 4. 1 is out. And then brand partners, get back with your guests. Get them on a 3-way text with somebody, and let's move them to a call so that we share with them how they're going to save and earn on these drops. Fabulous call, ladies. I cannot thank you enough for sharing such amazing stories. And if these stories resonated with you, get back to the person who introduced you to these drops, and let's get you started, because we are looking for an army of people to get these drops in the hands of billions. Cynthia, Sheila, and I cannot do it alone. So get started on these drops today so we can have your story. Love you guys. Have a great, great night.